You ever notice how some people always have a story behind why they haven't gotten a tattoo yet? Not because they're against tattoos, not because they think they're ugly, but because there's something deeper going on. Maybe it's you. Maybe you've stood in the shop with a design in your hand and still walked out. And every time you tell yourself, one day, but that one day never comes. Today, we're not talking about tattoos. We're talking about the psychology behind hesitation, fear, perfectionism, and the way we make decisions that shape our lives, often without even noticing. Because the truth is, the mindset of people who never get tattoos can teach us a lot about the choices we do or don't make every day. Let's break this down, not to judge, but to understand. Think of this like a mirror. You might see yourself in a few of these patterns. One of the biggest reasons people never get tattoos is simple. Permanence scares them. Not the ink, not the pain, but the idea of making a decision that lasts. And honestly, this shows up everywhere in life. Ever held back from changing careers because you might regret it? Ever stayed in a relationship longer than you should because the next step felt too final? Ever avoided starting something? A project, a habit, a dream, because you weren't sure if you'd stick with it? People who never get tattoos are often deeply aware of consequences. They want to get things right. They want their choices to mean something, and that's admirable. But here's the flip side. Overthinking permanence can freeze you. It makes every decision feel heavier than it needs to be, and suddenly you're living cautiously instead of intentionally. Why this matters? If you're always waiting for a perfect choice, you'll miss the choices that could change your life. Another common reason. What if I don't like it later? This is the same mental loop that stops people from investing in themselves, taking risks, or trying again after failure. Regret is one of the most powerful psychological fears. We avoid it at all costs, even if it means staying in places that don't help us grow. If you resonate with this, remember, regret doesn't come from choosing wrong. It usually comes from not choosing at all. Think about the last time you walked away from something you actually wanted because of a fear that lived only in your imagination. We do this with opportunities, friendships, passions. We talk ourselves out of things before we even try. Actionable insight. Instead of asking, what if I regret it? Try asking, what if this becomes something I'm proud I did? You'll be surprised how different your decisions feel with that shift. Some people don't get tattoos because they're waiting for the perfect design, the perfect artist, the perfect moment, the perfect meaning. And it never comes. Perfectionism is sneaky because it makes procrastination look productive. You feel like you're planning, researching, being thoughtful. But really, you're delaying. And we do this in life all the time. You want to start working out, but you're waiting for the right routine. You want to launch a business, but you're waiting for the perfect idea. You want to work on yourself, but you're waiting for the right time. Here's the truth. Perfect moments are built, not found. Perfect choices are made, not discovered. Why this matters? If everything needs to be perfect before you begin, you'll never begin. Try this. Start small. Start imperfect. Start anyway. People who never get tattoos often say something like, I don't know what represents me. And that's real. It takes self-awareness to admit you're still figuring yourself out. And honestly, it's not a bad thing. But sometimes this mindset goes deeper. It might mean you're still defining who you are. You're scared that your identity might change. You don't trust your future self. You worry your choices today won't match your growth tomorrow. And that's valid, because change is constant. But here's the insight. You don't need to know who you'll be 10 years from now to start making choices today. You just need to know who you are right now. And that version of you deserves to be expressed in decisions, in actions, in the way you show up for yourself. Not getting a tattoo can also reflect something positive, discipline and long-term thinking. Some people simply prioritize practicality. They think ahead. They consider how their decisions affect their future. And this is powerful, as long as it doesn't tip into fear-driven avoidance. Why this matters? Your long-term thinking is a strength, but don't let it keep you from living in the present. Ask yourself, are you being intentional or are you being scared? There's a difference. This video isn't about tattoos at all. It's about the psychology behind hesitation. Because maybe the thing you're avoiding isn't ink on your skin. It's saying yes to something meaningful. It's showing up for yourself. It's taking the next step you've been putting off. People think the biggest decisions in life are made with confidence, but honestly, most of the life-changing decisions are made with shaky hands and a hopeful heart.
Let's keep this simple. Here are 3 powerful shifts you can make today. No tattoo required. Step 1. Challenge your forever thinking. When you catch yourself hesitating, ask, is this actually permanent or am I just scared? Most things aren't permanent. Most things can be changed. Most choices aren't as final as they feel. Step 2. Make decisions based on growth, not fear. If your reason for saying no is fear, that's not a real reason. Try this. Imagine your future self. Would they thank you for staying safe or for taking a small, brave step? Step 3. Start before you feel ready. Not recklessly, but realistically. Do one small thing today that your overthinking has been blocking. Send the email. Start the workout. Apply for the thing. Pick up the book. Have the conversation. Tiny action is the antidote to lifelong hesitation. So, what did we learn from people who never get tattoos? They fear permanence. They're afraid of regret. They struggle with perfectionism. They're still figuring out who they are. They think long-term, sometimes too long-term. And maybe you saw a little bit of yourself in that. I know I do. But now you know the truth. Your decisions don't need to be perfect. They just need to be honest. So, here's your challenge. Do one small thing today that moves you forward. Not tomorrow, not one day, today. Because the life you want doesn't come from waiting for the perfect moment. It comes from creating it. Let's grow together. You got this.